The alien delegates laughed again. Commander Jake Morrison sat at the long metal table and tried to stay calm. The sound echoed through the meeting room on Nexus Prime Station. 17 different alien species had sent their best people to this meeting. Earth had sent Jake and his helper, Lieutenant Amy Carter. "Your ships are like toys," said Ambassador Thex Corral. The tall blue alien's forearms moved as he talked. His red eyes looked at Jake with no respect. "My people have been fighting wars for 3,000 years. Humans barely learned to fly between stars 50 years ago." Amy shifted in her chair next to Jake. She wanted to say something, but Jake put his hand on her arm. He had learned to be patient with these aliens. Earth needed their friendship, even if they treated humans like children. "The Korvaxi are correct," said another voice. This came from Counselor Vith Asaf, one of the ancient Valdorians. His skin looked like old leather and his eyes were completely white. "Humanity should focus on trade and exploration. Leave the fighting to those who understand it." Jake looked around the room. The Zenthari delegates sat with their metal bodies gleaming under the lights. They had replaced most of their flesh with machines long ago. They said nothing, but their silence felt like agreement with the others. "We appreciate the Federation's protection," Jake said carefully. His voice stayed steady. "Earth is grateful for the chance to learn from more experienced civilizations." More laughter filled the room. The sound came from a dozen different throats. Some aliens made clicking noises, others hissed. The Korvaxi delegation slammed their fists on the table. "Learn?" Thex Corral stood up. His massive body cast a shadow over Jake. "Your people use solid metal bullets in their guns. We stopped using such primitive weapons before your planet had cities." Amy's face turned red. Jake knew she wanted to tell them about Earth's real weapons, but those were secrets that even she did not know completely. Only a few humans knew what Earth really had hidden in space. Admiral Zeph 9 of the Zenthari finally spoke. His mechanical voice had no emotion. "The Federation has assigned patrol duties to human vessels. You will watch the empty sectors on the galaxy's edge. The Vega sector has no threats. It should be safe enough for your ships." "We can handle more dangerous areas," Jake said. He kept his voice respectful but firm. "No." The word came from Grak Moeller, the Korvaxi war chief. His scarred face showed many battles. "Your 12 ships would be destroyed in minutes if real enemies appeared. Stay in the safe zones." Jake nodded slowly. "We understand the Federation's concerns. Captain Ben Rodriguez and his crew on the Defiant will patrol as ordered." The meeting ended soon after. Jake and Amy walked through the station's corridors toward their shuttle. Other aliens moved past them without looking. To most species in the Federation, humans were barely worth noticing. "This is wrong," Amy whispered when they were alone. "They have no idea what we're really capable of." "That's the point," Jake replied quietly. "President Santos and Admiral Harris want it this way. Let them think we're weak." Back on Earth, things were very different. Deep under the mountains of Colorado, Admiral Sam Harris watched screens that showed the real human fleet. Not 12 ships, but over 800 vessels waited in hidden bases throughout the solar system. Some hung in the dark spaces between planets. Others hid behind Jupiter's moons. Captain Danny Foster stood on the bridge of the heavy cruiser, Retribution. His ship was 3 times larger than anything the Federation thought humans could build. The weapon systems around him used technology that would shock the alien scientists. "Any word from the Vega sector?" Danny asked his communications officer. "Captain Rodriguez reports all quiet," came the reply. "No sign of unusual activity." Danny nodded. The Defiant was doing its job, playing the part of Earth's best warship. In reality, it was barely armed compared to the real human fleet. But the aliens did not need to know that yet. Major Kate Sullivan checked her weapons console on the Retribution. The ship carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The energy cannons could punch through any known armor. The kinetic weapons moved so fast they bent space around them. None of this technology appeared in any report sent to the Federation. Light years away, Captain Ben Rodriguez did his boring patrol duty. His crew on the Defiant watched empty space and filed reports about nothing happening. They knew their real job was to make humanity look harmless. "Sir," said Lieutenant Lisa Park from her station. "Long-range sensors are picking up something strange." Ben looked at the displays. Far beyond the edge of known space, energy readings flickered like distant lightning. "Could be solar storms from unknown stars," suggested engineer Steve Walsh. "Maybe," Ben said. But something felt wrong. The patterns were too regular, too organized. "Keep monitoring. Send the data to Earth through secure channels." The readings continued for 3 days. They grew stronger. Whatever was out there was getting closer. On the 4th day, everything changed. The sensors exploded with signals. Massive objects were moving through space at incredible speeds. They were bigger than anything humans or aliens had ever built. "Get me a direct line to Earth," Ben ordered. "Priority 1. The message reached Admiral Harris in his underground command center. The readings showed ships the size of asteroids approaching the galaxy. Their energy signatures were off the charts. "How long before they reach Federation space?" Harris asked. "His staff." "At current speed, 3 weeks," replied Colonel Nick Hayes, the intelligence officer. Harris looked at the displays showing humanity's hidden fleet. For 50 years, Earth had pretended to be weak while building the most powerful military force in the galaxy. They had hoped never to need it. Now something was coming that might force them to reveal everything. The Federation had no idea what was heading toward them. They also had no idea that their weakest member was actually their strongest defender. Soon both secrets would be impossible to hide. News of the human victory spread across Federation space faster than light itself. On 17 different worlds, alien governments called emergency meetings. The species that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years suddenly faced a new reality on Ointio, the Korvaxi homeworld. War Council meetings lasted for days. General Thakvos studied battle recordings with growing alarm. "These humans destroyed a devourer fleet that crushed our best ships. How is this possible?" "Their weapons use principles we do not understand," replied science leader Kexmoller. "Energy beams that fire through folded space. Projectiles that move faster than our sensors can track. Ships that appear and disappear at will." War Chief Grak Moeller sat silent for a long time. His scarred face showed the weight of his thoughts. "For 50 years, we called them weak. We gave them the worst patrol duties. We laughed at their simple ships." "What do we do now?" asked General Thakvos. "We hope they are merciful," Grak Moeller replied quietly. The Zenthari High Command ran continuous analysis programs on human technology. Admiral Zeph-9's mechanical brain processed terabytes of battle data. The results shocked even his emotionless artificial mind. "Human ships carry weapons that should require the power of an entire star," he reported to the Zenthari Council. "Yet their vessels are smaller than our heavy cruisers. Their energy efficiency exceeds our calculations by factors of hundreds. How did they develop such technology in only 50 years?" asked Prime Unit Vex 7. "They did not," Zeph-9 replied. "Analysis suggests they possessed this capability when they joined the Federation. They have been hiding their true strength since first contact. The ancient Valdorians gathered in their crystal chambers for the first time in centuries. Counselor Vith Asaf's white eyes reflected light from memory crystals that held thousands of years of history. In all our records, no species has ever hidden military power so completely, he said to the assembled elders. The humans played a game we did not know existed. Elder Sith Kalar's voice trembled with age and worry. What were their intentions? Why hide such strength? Perhaps they learned from watching us, Vith Asaf suggested. They saw how we treated weaker species. They chose to appear weak until the moment of greatest need. On Nexus Prime Station, Commander Jake Morrison found himself in a completely different position. Alien delegates who had ignored him for years now requested urgent meetings. His simple office suddenly became the most important place on the station. Ambassador Thex Corral waited outside Morrison's door like a common petitioner. The proud Korvaxi's 4 arms shook with nervous energy. When Jake finally agreed to see him, the alien's voice was nothing like before. "Commander Morrison," Thex Corral began, his words carefully chosen. "I wish to formally apologize for my previous statements about human capabilities. The Korvaxi people would be honored to discuss mutual defense agreements." Jake kept his expression neutral. The Federation assigned us to patrol empty sectors. We were told to leave the fighting to more experienced species. That was a mistake, the alien admitted. We see now that human experience in warfare exceeds our own. Similar scenes played out across the galaxy. Species that had dismissed humanity as primitive now competed to offer alliance treaties. Trade agreements that had been denied for decades were suddenly approved overnight. But not everyone welcomed the change. In secret chambers across multiple worlds, alien leaders met to discuss the human problem. The Rigelian Defense Council convened in an underground bunker. Minister Dax Prime spoke for many when he voiced their fears. Today they saved us from the Devourers, he said. But what about tomorrow? They have been lying to us for 50 years. They possess weapons that could destroy any of our worlds in minutes. What do you suggest? Asked General Yexvoller. We form a coalition, multiple species working together to contain human expansion. We cannot allow them to dominate the galaxy through military strength. Similar meetings occurred on 6 other worlds. Fear of human power brought together species that had been enemies for centuries. The Nexari Trade Federation, the Kelton Military, Alliance, and the Outer Rim Defense League all began secret negotiations. Captain Patricia Wong's exploration vessel Pathfinder monitored communications across Federation space. Her intelligence officers intercepted dozens of coded messages between alien governments. Sir, reported Lieutenant Scott Davis, we're detecting multiple conspiracy networks. At least 8 species are coordinating resistance to human influence. Wong smiled at her young officer. Let them plot. Admiral Harris wants them to think they have secrets from us. Back on Earth, President Santos met with her military leaders in the secure bunker. The war was won, but the peace would be more complicated. How many alien governments are actively working against us? She asked. Colonel Amanda Johnson consulted her intelligence reports. 15 species have expressed concerns about human military supremacy. 8 are actively plotting resistance. 3 are considering direct military action. And how many know we're watching them? Santos asked. None, Admiral Harris replied with satisfaction. Our surveillance capabilities are still completely unknown. They think their communications are secure. What about the Devourers? Santos asked. Are there more of them out there? Captain Alex Turner's deep space reconnaissance had been tracking energy signatures beyond the galactic edge. We've detected at least 3 more Devourer construction sites in nearby galaxies. They're not finished with us. Santos looked at the reports showing humanity's expanding military capabilities. New shipyards were producing advanced vessels faster than ever before. Technology that had been theoretical was becoming reality in hidden laboratories. How long before the next Devourer attack? She asked. 6 months minimum, Admiral Harris estimated. Probably longer. They'll want to study our weapons before trying again. Then we have time to settle the political situation, Santos decided. The Federation needs to understand their new position in the galaxy. Admiral Yuki Tanaka arrived at Procyon with Earth's Strategic Reserve Fleet. Her massive dreadnoughts emerged from quantum tunnels in perfect formation. The sight of human battleships that dwarfed anything the Federation had ever built caused panic on several alien vessels. This is Admiral Tanaka. To all Federation forces, she transmitted. Earth's Strategic Command is establishing a permanent base in this system. We will coordinate galactic defense against future threats. Admiral Zeph-9's mechanical voice carried new respect when he replied. The Federation welcomes human protection. How many ships are you bringing to the base? Currently 300 vessels, Tanaka replied calmly. More will arrive as needed. The number shocked every alien commander. The humans were deploying a fleet larger than most species' entire military forces to defend a single system. On the Valdorian homeworld, emergency sessions continued as leaders tried to process their changed situation. Elder Veeth Asaf addressed the crisis with ancient wisdom. We have 2 choices, he told the gathered councils. We can accept human leadership and benefit from their protection, or we can resist and face the consequences. What consequences? asked a younger delegate. They have weapons that can destroy our worlds, Vith Asaf replied simply. They also have enemies like the Devourers that we cannot defeat alone. Logic suggests cooperation is our only option. Captain Walter Kim's diplomatic vessel began its tour of Federation worlds. His mission was simple: establish direct trade relationships with individual planets, bypassing the traditional council oversight. His first stop was the mining world of Kepler-7. The local government had struggled under Federation trade restrictions for decades. Kim offered them something better. Earth can provide advanced mining equipment in exchange for rare metals, he explained to Governor Dex Morin. Direct trade, no council fees, better prices for both sides. But the Federation trade laws, the governor began. Our suggestions, not requirements, Kim replied. Earth guarantees the protection of any world that trades with us directly. The governor looked at the human warships holding position near his planet. Ships that had just destroyed an enemy that consumed entire worlds. The choice was obvious. The end of the week, 12 Federation worlds had signed direct trade agreements with Earth. The old economic system began cracking under the pressure of human competition. The Federation Council called an emergency session to address the growing crisis. 17 species that had once dictated galactic policy found themselves scrambling to maintain relevance. The humans are undermining our authority, complained Trade Minister Hex Valor of the Nexari Federation. They ignore our regulations and offer better deals to individual worlds. What authority? Asked Councillor Vith Asaf bluntly. They saved our civilization when we could not save ourselves. Why should they follow rules made by weaker powers? The truth settled over the chamber like a heavy weight. The balance of power had shifted permanently. The Federation could try to resist, but they all knew who would win that fight. Commander Morrison, now promoted to Admiral, entered the chamber for what he knew would be a very different kind of meeting. This time, when he spoke, everyone would listen. The Federation's last hope gathered at Procyon. Every remaining warship from 17 alien species formed desperate battle lines around the strategic jump points. Over 3,000 vessels waited for the Devourers to arrive. Admiral Zeph 9 commanded the defense from his flagship. The Zenthari's mechanical body showed no fear, but his voice carried new urgency. All ships report ready. We will hold this system or die trying. War Chief Grak Molar's remaining Korvaxi fleet took the front positions. Their massive ships bristled with every weapon the warrior race could build. Let these machines come, he growled. They will learn what Korvaxi courage means. But fear filled the other ships. The Valdorians had activated shields that had not been used for 1,000 years. The peaceful trading species had armed their cargo vessels with anything that could shoot. Everyone knew this might be the galaxy's final battle. On Nexus Prime, Commander Jake Morrison watched the preparations. The Federation had still not asked for human help. Earth's 12 patrol ships were ordered to stay away from the fighting again. This is insane, Lieutenant Amy Carter whispered. They're about to get slaughtered, and they still think we're too weak to help. Jake touched his secure communicator. Admiral Harris had given him new orders just an hour ago. Earth's real fleet was finally moving into position. In a few hours, the galaxy would learn the truth about human military power. The Devourers arrived, exactly when predicted. Massive metal spheres dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. Their ships had grown even larger since consuming more Federation colonies. Some were now the size of small moons. 6,000 enemy vessels detected, reported the Federation's sensor officer. Energy signatures are off our scales. Admiral Zeph 9 opened fire first. The Federation fleet unleashed everything they had. Energy beams lit up space like artificial stars. Missile volleys darkened the sky between the fleets. For a moment it looked like their combined firepower might work. Then the Devourers responded. Their weapons passed through Federation shields and armor like they were made of air. Alien ships exploded or simply vanished. The enemy's adaptive technology had learned from the first battle. Now their weapons were even more deadly. Shields are useless, Admiral Zeph 9 transmitted. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Try to close, range for direct fire. War Chief Grak Molar led his dreadnoughts in a desperate charge. The Korvaxi ships fired continuously as they rushed toward the enemy. A few Devourer vessels took minor damage, but the alien weapons still could not penetrate the machine's armor. "We need help," Grockmoller admitted for the first time in his life. "Contact every Federation member, even the humans with their toy ships." On Earth, President Santos gave the final order. Authorization Code 77 Alpha. Release all restrictions. Show them what humanity really built. Admiral Harris smiled as he activated systems that had been hidden for 50 years. Across the solar system, massive space doors opened. Shipyards that looked like asteroids revealed themselves. Military bases that had been invisible suddenly appeared on every sensor. The real human fleet began to move. Captain Danny Foster stood on the bridge of the Retribution as his ship left its hiding place behind Jupiter. Around him, 200 of Earth's most advanced warships emerged from concealment. Each vessel carried technology that the Federation thought was impossible. "All ships report ready," Major Kate Sullivan announced. "Quantum tunnels are opening." The human fleet did not use normal hyperspace. Their ships traveled through folded dimensions that allowed them to appear anywhere instantly. It was technology that aliens had never imagined. At Procyon, the Federation defense was collapsing. Half their ships were already destroyed. The survivors scattered in panic as Devourer vessels closed in for the kill. "This is Admiral Zeph 9. To all Federation forces," the mechanical being transmitted. "Prepare for final defense of the core worlds. We have failed here." Then space itself seemed to twist. Reality bent as quantum tunnels opened behind the Devourer fleet. 200 human warships appeared from nowhere, their weapons already charging. What the hell? War Chief Grockmoller stared at his sensors. "Those are human ships, but they're impossible. My scanners say each one has more firepower than a Korvaxi battle group." Captain Foster opened communications to the Federation fleet. "This is Captain Danny Foster of the Earth vessel Retribution. Human reinforcements have arrived. All Federation ships fall back and let us handle this." "Impossible," Admiral Zeph 9 replied. "Humans only have 12 patrol ships. Where did you come from?" "That's classified," Foster said calmly. "Lisa, target the largest enemy vessel. Kate, charge all quantum disruptors." The human ship's weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Energy beams that ignored distance fired through folded space. Kinetic projectiles moved so fast they created their own gravity wells. Quantum torpedoes that existed in multiple dimensions at once. Captain Lisa Turner's destroyer Vengeance demonstrated human precision targeting. Her weapons officer, Lieutenant Ryan Cooper, had studied Devourer technology for weeks. His shots struck weak points that aliens had never noticed. "Direct hit on enemy armor," Ryan reported. "Their adaptive systems are trying to compensate, but our weapons keep changing frequency." The Devourer vessels had never faced weapons that adapted faster than they could. Their self-repairing hulls struggled to keep up with damage that changed with every shot. Captain Michelle Adams commanded the assault carrier Victory. Her ship launched hundreds of unmanned fighters that moved with impossible precision. The drone craft executed maneuvers that would have killed any living pilot. "Enemy point defenses are overwhelmed," Adams reported. "Our fighters are through their perimeter." The human drones swarmed over Devourer ships like angry insects. Their weapons found every weak spot and gap in the alien armor. Small explosions bloomed across the enemy hulls as critical systems failed. Admiral Chris Martinez coordinated the human fleet from his command ship Determination. His communications used quantum entanglement that worked instantly across any distance. While alien fleets needed minutes to relay orders, human ships responded in seconds. "Battle Group Beta, flank them from the left," Martinez ordered. "Battle, Group Gamma, prepare dimensional strike on their command vessels." The tide of battle shifted completely. Devourer ships that had seemed invincible began taking serious damage. Their adaptive armor could not keep up with human weapons that changed continuously. Their energy shields failed against attacks that came from multiple dimensions. The Federation fleet watched in amazement. Ships they had dismissed as primitive toys were systematically destroying enemies that had crushed their best forces. "How is this possible?" Admiral Zeph 9 transmitted to Captain Foster. Your technology readings are beyond our understanding. We've been busy for the last 50 years, Foster replied. His ship's main cannon fired a beam that passed through 3 Devourer vessels at once. While you thought we were weak, we were building the galaxy's most advanced fleet. War Chief Grak Moeller's scarred face showed shock for the first time. Your ships are smaller than ours, but they fight like they have the power of stars. Learned from studying your technology, Captain Foster explained. Then we made it better. The largest Devourer sphere tried to retreat, but human ships blocked every escape route. Captain Kevin Brown's battleship Sovereign fired weapons through dimensional space, striking the enemy from directions that should not exist. Enemy flagship is breaking apart, reported his science officer, Dr. Angela White. Their central processing core is exposed. All ships, concentrate fire, Admiral Martinez ordered. Let's finish this. The combined human fleet focused their attacks on the massive Devourer command ship. Quantum torpedoes tore through its armor. Energy beams melted its hull. Kinetic weapons punched holes straight through its core. The enemy flagship exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the entire system. Secondary explosions rippled through the Devourer fleet as their network connections failed. Without their command ship, the remaining machines began to retreat. Pursuit course, Captain Foster ordered. Don't let any of them escape. The human fleet chased the fleeing Devourers with speeds that amazed the alien observers. Ships that should not be able to move so fast caught up with enemies trying to reach hyperspace. Within 6 hours, the entire Devourer attack force was destroyed. Not a single enemy vessel escaped. The Federation's certain defeat had become total victory, thanks to allies they had never taken seriously. Admiral Zeph 9 transmitted to the human fleet. We owe you our lives and our civilization, but we must ask, why did you hide your true capabilities? Captain Foster's reply echoed across every Federation channel. Because you never asked nicely. The first colony to die was New Rigel. 3 million aliens lived on the mining world at the edge of Federation space. Then the signals stopped coming. No messages, no emergency calls, nothing at all. Admiral Zeph 9 of the Zenthari called an emergency meeting. The mechanical being's voice echoed through the Federation Council chambers. All contact with New Rigel ended 6 hours ago. Our fastest ships will reach the system in 2 days. Ambassador Thex Corral slammed his 4 fists on the table. This could be equipment failure or pirates. Why panic over one lost signal? But Counselor Vith Asaf looked worried. The ancient Valdorian had lived through many wars. The energy readings Captain Rodriguez detected were not random. Something intelligent is coming. On Earth, President Maria Santos sat in a secure room, deep underground. Admiral Harris showed her the latest intelligence reports. Satellite images from the outer colonies showed massive dark shapes moving between the stars. How big are these ships? The president asked. Each one is the size of a small moon, Harris replied. Our computers counted at least 50 vessels in the first wave. There are probably more behind them. Santos looked at the files marked with the highest security levels. Earth's real military capabilities were written in those pages. Technology that the Federation could not imagine. Weapons that could crack planets in half. Do we reveal ourselves now? She asked. Not yet, Harris said. Let the Federation try to handle this first. We need to see what we're really facing. 2 days later, the first Federation scout ships reached New Rigel. Captain Vex Gamma of the Zenthari transmitted his report back to the Council. His mechanical voice could not hide his shock. The planet is gone, he said. Not destroyed. Gone. In its place is a metal sphere covered in lights. The sphere is feeding on the star itself, drinking the solar energy. The Council chamber fell silent. 17 alien species had never seen anything like this. What about the colonists? Asked Thex Corral. Unknown. We detect no life signs, but we are seeing new construction on the sphere's surface. It appears to be building more ships. The news got worse over the next week. More colonies went silent. Each time, Federation scouts found the same thing. Planets consumed and replaced by metal spheres that grew larger every day. War Chief Grak Moeller demanded action. My fleets will destroy these invaders. The Korvaxi have never lost a battle. The Federation's first fleet assembled near the Rigel system. 3,000 warships from 7 different species formed battle lines. The Korvaxi dreadnoughts led the charge. Centauri battle cruisers provided heavy fire support. Even the peaceful Valdorians sent their ancient but powerful defense. Ships. Commander Jake Morrison watched the battle preparations from Nexus Prime Station. The Federation had not asked for human help. Earth's 12 patrol ships were ordered to stay far away from the fighting. Our sensors can monitor the battle from here, Lieutenant Amy Carter said. The Federation fleet looks impressive. Jake nodded, but he felt worried. The energy readings from the metal spheres were beyond anything in Federation databases. These enemies used technology that should not exist. The battle began at 800 hours, Federation Standard Time. The alien fleets opened fire from maximum range. Energy beams and missile volleys lit up the darkness of space. For a moment, it looked like the Federation would win easily. Then the enemy responded. The metal spheres launched weapons that moved faster than light itself. They passed through Federation shields like they were not there. Korvaxi dreadnoughts exploded in balls of fire. Centauri battlecruisers split in half. Impossible, Admiral Zeph-9 transmitted. Our shields are absorbing the energy, but the weapons are ignoring the shields completely. War Chief Grak Moeller's flagship tried to ram one of the enemy vessels. The massive Korvaxi ship struck the metal sphere and simply disappeared. No explosion, no debris. It was gone as if it had never existed. Within 4 hours, the entire Federation First Fleet was destroyed. 3,000 ships and 12 million crew members were either dead or missing. The enemy had not lost a single vessel. On Earth, Admiral Harris called President Santos immediately. The Federation's best fleet just got wiped out. These enemies are using technology we've never seen before. What do our scientists think? Santos asked. Colonel Nick Hayes had been studying the captured enemy signals. These aren't aliens, he reported. They're machines. Artificial intelligence that consumes matter and energy to build more of itself. Our computers are calling them devourers. Can our weapons hurt them? The president asked. Harris looked at the secret files. Human technology was far ahead of the Federation, but this was something new. We think so. Our quantum disruptors might work where Federation energy weapons failed, but we'll need to reveal our real capabilities. Not yet, Santos decided. Let the Federation try again. We need more information about these devourers. The Federation Council met in emergency session. Half the delegates were crying. The other half sat in shocked silence. Their most powerful fleet had been destroyed like it was made of paper. We need immediate evacuation of all outer colonies, Councillor Vaith Asaf said. These devourers will consume everything in their path. What about the core worlds? Asked Ambassador Thex Corral. His proud voice now sounded scared. We activate the ancient defense systems, Admiral Zeph-9 replied. Every species will contribute their remaining fleets. We make our stand at Procyon. Commander. Morrison received new orders from Earth. Continue to monitor but do not engage, Admiral Harris told him. The real human fleet is preparing, but we're not ready to show ourselves yet. What if the Federation loses at Procyon? Jake asked. Then we stop pretending to be weak, Harris replied. Back in the Vega sector, Captain Ben Rodriguez got similar orders. His crew on the Defiant watched as more Devourer fleets entered the galaxy. The enemy ships were building new vessels from consumed planets. Sir, Engineer Steve Walsh reported, our quantum scanners are detecting construction patterns. These machines are learning and adapting. Each new ship is stronger than the last. Ben looked at his weapons console. The Defiant carried enough firepower to fight a small Federation fleet. But compared to Earth's real warships, it was almost defenseless. How long before they reached the core worlds? He asked. Lieutenant Lisa Park checked her calculations. At current speed, 2 weeks. But they're accelerating, building more ships every day. The second wave of Devourer attacks began the next morning. 12 colony systems fell in a single day. The metal spheres now covered entire solar systems, turning Star energy into more war machines. Refugee ships fled toward the galactic center. Millions of aliens abandoned their homes and ran for their lives. The Federation's remaining fleets pulled back to defend only the most important worlds. On Earth, the secret military bases came alive. Admiral Harris gave the order to begin final preparations. The time for hiding was almost over. Captain Danny Foster walked through the Retribution's weapons bay. Technicians loaded quantum torpedoes that could destroy entire fleets. Energy cannons charged with power stolen from pocket dimensions. Kinetic weapons that fired projectiles through folded space. "How many ships do we have ready?" he asked Major Kate Sullivan. 200 in the first wave, she replied. Another 400 in reserve. The shipyards are working around the clock to finish the rest. Danny nodded. For 50 years, humanity had built this fleet in secret. Now they would find out if it was enough to stop an enemy that consumed galaxies. The final battle against the Devourers took place at the edge of known space. Their main construction facilities covered 3 entire star systems with metal structures that drained energy from the stars themselves. Admiral Harris led the combined Federation and human fleets in the largest military operation in galactic history. "All ships report ready," transmitted Captain Alex Turner from his experimental vessel Phoenix. The ship carried weapons that could destabilize matter at the quantum level, technology that seemed like magic to alien observers. The human fleet had grown to over 800 vessels. Each ship carried weapons systems that the Federation was still trying to understand. Energy cannons that fired through folded dimensions. Kinetic weapons that moved faster than light. Defensive shields that existed in multiple realities at once. Captain Danny Foster's Retribution led the first attack wave. His crew had fought the Devourers before and knew their weaknesses. Major Kate Sullivan targeted the massive construction platforms with quantum torpedoes that existed in several dimensions, simultaneously. "Direct hit on Platform 7, she reported. "The structure is collapsing into its component atoms." The Devourers had learned from their previous defeats. Their new vessels carried adaptive armor that changed its properties every few seconds. Energy shields that shifted between different frequencies. Weapons that fired from multiple dimensions at once. But humanity had been learning too. Engineer Helen Davis aboard the battleship Justice activated a new type of weapon system, dimensional destabilizers that attacked the very fabric of space around enemy ships. The Devourer vessels found their own advanced technology working against them. "Enemy flagship is losing dimensional cohesion," Davis reported with satisfaction. "Their multi-dimensional systems are tearing their ship apart." Captain Scott Mitchell's cybersecurity team had spent months preparing for this battle. They launched computer viruses that were designed specifically to target Devourer artificial intelligence systems. The enemy's greatest strength became their weakness. "Viral attacks are successful," Mitchell reported. "Enemy coordination is breaking down. Individual ships are acting independently." The battle raged across 3 star systems for 18 hours. Human ships demonstrated capabilities that amazed even their alien allies. Captain Lisa Turner's destroyer group used quantum tunneling to appear inside enemy formations. Captain Gary Thompson's fast attack vessels moved through folded space faster than the Devourers could track. Admiral Chris Martinez coordinated the entire operation from his command ship Determination. His quantum communication systems allowed instant coordination across light years of space. While the Devourers struggled to maintain communications, human forces moved with perfect precision. "All platforms in System 1 are destroyed," reported Captain Michelle Adams from her assault carrier Victory. Moving to System 2. The Federation forces played supporting roles in the battle. Their weapons could not penetrate Devourer defenses, but they provided valuable assistance in other ways. Korvaxi ships acted as decoys to draw enemy fire. Centauri vessels provided electronic warfare support. Valdorian craft rescued damaged human ships. Admiral Zeph 9 watched the battle with mechanical admiration. "Human tactical capabilities exceed all our projections," he transmitted to the Federation fleet. "They fight as if they can see the future." "We can," Captain Foster replied simply. "Our computers run battle simulations millions of times faster than real time. We know what the enemy will do before they do it." The Devourer Central Command Complex was a structure the size of a small planet. It controlled the entire artificial intelligence network across multiple galaxies. Captain Brian Lewis led a specialized strike force directly at the facility's core. "Remember," Admiral Harris transmitted to the strike team, "this is not just about stopping their local forces. We need to cripple their ability to spread to other galaxies." Lewis's ship Phoenix fired a weapon that existed only in theory until that moment. A quantum cascade that would collapse the artificial intelligence's ability to maintain consciousness across vast distances. The effect would ripple through their entire network. Firing quantum cascade in 3, 2, 1. The weapon struck the command complex and reality seemed to bend around the impact point. Devourer ships across all three systems suddenly stopped moving. Their coordination networks collapsed as their central intelligence died. "It's working," reported engineer Rachel Brooks from her monitoring station. "Enemy ships are going dormant. The network is shutting down." Within minutes, the entire Devourer force became nothing more than drifting metal hulks. Their advanced technology was useless without the artificial intelligence to control it. The galaxy's greatest threat was ended by human science that the aliens could barely comprehend. The victory celebrations were brief. Admiral Harris knew that other threats existed beyond the galactic edge. Earth's deep space monitors detected energy signatures from neighboring galaxies. More enemies would come eventually, but the political situation required immediate attention. The Federation Council convened on Nexus Prime for what everyone knew would be a historic session. Admiral Morrison, representing Earth, entered the chamber to find every seat filled. The 17 alien species watched him with a mixture of respect, fear, and uncertainty. "The Federation wishes to thank humanity for saving our civilization," began Counselor Vith Asaf. "However, we must address the new reality of galactic politics." Morrison nodded politely. "Earth is prepared to discuss our role in galactic affairs. Some members have expressed concerns about human military supremacy," the Valdorian continued carefully. "Perhaps we could establish agreements to limit fleet expansions and technology sharing requirements." Morrison's expression did not change. "The Federation is welcome to make suggestions. Earth will consider them along with our security requirements." Ambassador Thex Coral leaned forward. "What are Earth's intentions regarding Federation governance?" "Simple," Morrison replied. "We want peace, free trade, and cooperative defense against external threats. Beyond that, each world can govern itself as it chooses." "And if worlds choose to align with Earth instead of the Federation?" asked Admiral Zeph 9. "That is their choice to make," Morrison said calmly. The implications were clear. Humanity was offering individual worlds the option to leave the Federation system and join a new order based on human protection and technology. Many worlds found the offer attractive. Over the following months, 12 systems formally requested Earth protection. They established direct trade relationships and began receiving advanced human technology. The old Federation structure cracked under the pressure of superior alternatives. President Santos addressed the galaxy from her new office on Nexus Prime. Earth had established a permanent diplomatic presence that was more like a second capital than an embassy. "The galaxy faces new realities," she told the assembled alien representatives. "Threats like the Devourers require unity and advanced technology. Earth offers both to any world that wants them." "What about worlds that prefer independence?" asked an Exari delegate. "Independence is fine," Santos replied. "But independence also means responsibility for your own defense. Earth will not protect those who choose to remain outside our alliance." Captain Tony Clark's stealth reconnaissance ship Phoenix patrolled the galactic edge where new threats might appear. His advanced sensors detected energy signatures from 17 different galaxies. The universe was full of dangers that the Federation had never imagined. "Admiral Harris," he transmitted through quantum channels, "we're detecting massive artificial structures in the Andromeda galaxy. They appear to be launching something in our direction." Harris studied the data in his command center on Earth. The human military had grown to over 2,000 ships, but that might not be enough for what was coming. "How long until they arrive?" he asked. "Minimum 5 years," Clark estimated. "Possibly 10 if they're being cautious. Then we have time to prepare," Harris decided. and to make sure our allies are ready. The Federation Council met for its final session under the old system. The writing was on the wall for everyone to see. Humanity offered protection, technology, and prosperity. The Federation offered bureaucracy, trade restrictions, and weakness in the face of real threats. I propose we formally dissolve the Federation Council, announced Councillor Vith Asaf. Individual species can then choose their own paths. And join the Human Alliance? Asked War Chief Grok Moller. Those who wish to, the Valdorian replied. Those who prefer isolation can have it. But the age of the Federation as a military force is over. The vote was unanimous. 17 species that had governed the galaxy for millennia formally ended their union. Some immediately applied to join Earth's growing alliance. Others retreated to their home systems to consider their options. A few attempted to maintain independence but found it lonely and dangerous. Admiral Morrison's final act as Federation liaison was to establish the Galactic Defense Command. Based on Nexus Prime but controlled by Earth, it would coordinate protection for all allied worlds. Advanced human technology would be shared with loyal allies. Trade would flow freely between member systems. Captain Jennifer Price commanded the Waydur patrol vessel Horizon as it explored regions beyond Federation space.